Consider the lilies. Consider the lilies. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. When you think of a lily, what do you see? If you're like most people, you probably envision a beautiful white flower with 6 petals. But there's more to consider than what you see when looking at this beautiful flower. There's also what it represents. The flower represents love, beauty, power, and life itself. The lilies are a symbol of beauty and purity. The lily has many different shapes and colors. It can be yellow, red, white, or purple, and are often used in wedding bouquets. The lily is known to be one of the most popular flowers in the world. It has a long history and many different meanings associated with it. Gift of lilies. The gift of lilies is one of the most treasured and beautiful gifts one can give. It is also a symbol of rebirth, resurrection, and eternal life. The lily has been used in many cultures as a symbol of beauty and life. Although there are many different types of lilies with different meanings depending on where they are grown. The gift of lilies is a symbol of purity. They are not like other flowers in the field. They do not bloom for long. The lilies are very hard to see. Their beauty is hidden in the dark recesses of their leaves. It is believed that people with good character have a pleasant smell that reminds us of the lily. The lilies compare us to the person who was innocent in love, pure, innocent, and beautiful when they were young. It is said that when you are young, you have no idea about the world or about yourself. You are vulnerable and trusting because your heart has not been jaded by experience yet. You see the world as it really is, a place filled with infinite possibilities where anything can happen if you let it. Beauty is an important part of life. Beauty is an important part of life. It is the inspiration for art and the source of our joy and wonder. The lilies are a brilliant example of how to use beauty to express ideas. The flowers are made up of more than 50 individual colors. The flowers themselves look like lilies, but the arrangement we see today is completely different from what would have been in the original garden. We can learn a lot about life from these flowers. They are meant to be seen from above as you walk through the garden. They are also meant to be seen from below because they are arranged on a narrow path that follows the contour of a hillside. This path is so narrow that people walking along it must sometimes step back onto grass or gravel paths if they get turned around or have their attention interrupted by something else in their path ahead or behind them, such as another person passing by, or even simply another flower in bloom further down the path. We need beauty in our lives, and we need to be able to recognize it when we see it. How do we recognize beauty? We don't see beauty in everything, but we can learn to recognize it by looking at other things that are beautiful and by considering the way they make us feel. It takes great humility and self-control to admit our own weaknesses and limitations. This is especially difficult when we have been in situations before where we failed to live up to expectations or expectations were set for us by someone else. We can't always control what other people expect from us, but we can control how we respond to their expectations and pressures. Regretting bad choices or decisions doesn't help anyone. Instead, it only keeps us from moving forward with our lives. Nothing can stop the lilies. Even when everything else fails and it seems like nothing is working out, the lilies keep on growing. Not only that, but they become stronger and more beautiful as they become more mature. Life is not always about beauty, but also about experience. Beauty only exists at the moment and will never last. If you want to appreciate something for what it is, you need to enjoy the pure experience of it. You can't let yourself be carried away by how beautiful it may or may not be, because beauty isn't a permanent thing. Instead, you should focus on the rich experiences rather than being caught up in a fleeting notion of beauty alone. While physical beauty fades over time, virtue and the sweetness of nature endure. Even something as simple as a flower has purpose and value. It gives beauty. Even the most beautiful things do not always have a direct use. They just give something else value. So, as you go on this journey, I challenge you to think about what beauty is. How does it affect you? What does it make you feel like when you see it? And most importantly, how can you use this beautiful world around you to improve other people's lives? One thing I ask of the Lord, this is what I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple.